This is Real Disciple Podcast 11. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Pastor Tapiwa. Dropped the special that time because
No special.
I don't think you quite liked it. But yeah, anyway, we're here with Tapiwa. I'm in Bolton. We've just had a good revival from my perspective. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, amazing church. We're actually in their building. There's a few people around watching us right now. And so we literally are going live. Amen.
That's right.
And so let's just start with, how did you get saved?
Yeah, got saved 2002. Good friend, James Mann.
Yep.
Right,
Man,
yeah.
we know that.
Yeah, the man himself.
Yeah.
I think James Mann was either selling to a friend of mine or smoking with a friend of mine.
Okay.
And so we ended up smoking together. That's weed. Smoking together a few times. And James got saved.
Yeah.
His sister invited him to church. And so as soon as James got saved, man, he was pretty much trying to get the guys into church. And he would come around every Sunday morning, throw a little rock on my window, wake us up. Are you coming to church? It was like, nah, we ain't coming to church. You know, he's raving the night before.
Yep.
And so it took him about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Every Sunday, James would
So
come.
6 months after he got saved.
He's
He's continuously coming around, witnessing to you guys, trying to get you guys into church.
Every single week.
Wow.
And every Sunday, I would hear that rock on the window.
Wow.
And so I remember just saying, I think we just smoked some weed and we're listening to Exhibit.
Yeah.
Right? And we're just laughing our heads off. And James is in there. And he's like, guys, man, you need to come to church. So, just to get him off our back, I said, hey, listen, let's all go to church tomorrow. So we wake up in the morning. He comes around, and I think I must have said, I can't come because I don't have money for a travel card. He's like, nah, let's go. I remember it was 7 of us walked to Purley train station, jumped on the train.
Yeah.
We're on the train. We haven't paid a penny to get on the train. And an inspector walks in, right? And so, there's 7 of us, dodgy-looking guys.
Yeah.
He's going to come straight to us. So he checks a few tickets, and he looks at us. And the train stops, and he just walks out. And I was like, no, that just didn't happen.
Wow.
And something in me just knew, you know what, this is special. Right, but I didn't clock,
Yeah.
And so just carried on, went to church, didn't even hear the sermon because I was like, what time is it going to finish? We need to get this done. And the oracle guy said something. I looked up.
So that was Rotherhithe.
Rotherhithe, yeah.
So
Rotherhithe.
you came to Rotherhithe.
Yeah.
Who was preaching that day?
Beauregard, Larry.
Oh, Larry Bogart.
Yeah.
Powerful,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. So I remember, short guy.
Yeah.
So so I put my hand up, went to the front, prayed. But is when you're with your boys.
How old would you have been then?
I was maybe 20.
20, okay.
Yeah, 20. And so you're with your boys. You've prayed. I know this is the right thing to do. And as soon as I walked out, I was like, who's got something to smoke? I'm just putting on a show.
Yeah.
But something happened to me that day. Went back to Croydon, and I couldn't go back to Rotherhithe. Just, it was far and everything else.
You was living in Croydon.
I was living in Croydon.
Yeah, so that's a long way.
Yeah, so I was living in Croydon. And so just carried on. I was planning on going to the States to do my athletic scholarship, University of Washington.
What was you doing in athletics?
Long jump.
Yeah, so you can do long jump, yeah?
Yeah, I was a sprinter.
I never knew
main.
that. All these years, I never knew that.
Down low.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm due to go. And I've been saved, just messing about. And I remember life just took a turn. Being from Zimbabwe, having just come into England to party.
Born in Zimbabwe?
Born in Zimbabwe, yeah. So just come to England to party.
What age did you come to England?
19.
Okay.
Yeah, just before my 20th.
So you hadn't been in England long?
Nah. But I was partying.
He was free.
I was free. Yeah, and so, but I think what happened when I came to Rotherhithe, God planted that seed.
Yeah.
And my life began to take a turn for the worse. Nothing major, but just decisions. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
You're about to go to university. Do you want to go there? Do you might as well just stay here? And so I remember one day just waking up and saying, I need to go to church. And I asked the lady that lived next door if she could take me to a Seventh-day Adventist church. She said, yeah, I'll come and knock for you. And she never did. So I woke up later on in the afternoon and thought, you know what? Let me go into Croydon city centre. Maybe I can get a flyer to a gospel concert, go to the concert, and then ask them about good churches that I could go to. So
what would make you think that there's someone in the city centre handing out flyers for concerts?
To this day, I do not know where that thought came from.
Wow.
Because I'd never received one.
Wow.
Right? I'd never...
Because that's pretty random.
Yeah. I didn't even know gospel concerts existed.
Yeah.
But I just thought if I went in, someone would give me some sort of concert and I'd go to one.
So when would this be, about 2001?
Yeah. 2001, I think. Or,
Yeah?
2002 time. So I walk into Croydon, get up the bus, 2 girls walk up to me and they give me a flyer to a concert. So I take the flyer, go back home, get 2 of my friends. Hey guys, we need to go for this concert. Oh, what concert is it? Let's just go. So we show up to the concert. I now know how, having gone to Rove High, they do the concert, and at the end of the concert, this guy is preaching. And I know the formula now. I'd never been in a Pentecostal church before, but I knew he's going to make an invitation.
Yeah.
So as soon as the guy says, you want to pray, come forward, I just went. Went down, prayed, Phil Azil, Wolf from Store prayed with me.
Yeah.
And they took me home. And I get home, my friends are there. And I was surprised because my friends who I'd taken there knew some people. So I asked them the question, how comes you know these people? Like, our dad is a pastor of this same church in Zimbabwe. So I was like, how does that work? What church is this? And they were like, Potter's House. Didn't think anything of it. Because I didn't know I'd come to the Potter's House in Roverhive.
Okay.
I didn't know. So James comes along, and I said, James, I'm saved. I prayed. And I think I must have told him I went to a concert. What concert? Potter's House. That's the church I go to. That's the church I took you down to. So I'm living next door to guys who are my friends. Their dad's a pastor of the Potter's House. I got saved in Roverhive, Potter's House. And Pastor Clement has just come to Croydon to start a Potter's House.
That's amazing. That
God. Was it. That was it for me.
So you saw that this has to be God.
Yeah.
You was like, no, hold up.
Yeah.
This cannot be a coincidence that whatever time it was, months ago, a year ago, I went to this place, got saved. Then I walk down the street, people invited me to the same church, and then this happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I draw out of that as well is that these girls that are evangelizing, handing out flyers, sometimes we think when we're evangelizing, we're the ones that are going to get people saved. But God was already working on you. But when you evangelize, you just come in line with God's plan.
Absolutely.
It's not you making it. You just got to be faithful to witness to that person on the bus or in the supermarket, because you're thinking, I'm going to be the one to get them saved and be so clever and so no, just do your part.
Yeah,
because God has already built up a backstory, and then you actually bring it all together.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. And Courtney, the revelation I got was it might sound a bit controversial, but you don't choose a church.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, God is so wise. He's so big. He knows where you need to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was me when I was hearing all these things. Potter's House, Roverhive, Potter's House, Croydon, Potter's House, Zimbabwe, and I'm in Potter's House. I thought, you know what? Okay, this is it.
This is where God wants me.
This is where God wants me to be.
Excellent. And so, so how long was you in the church before you got married?
You know what?
Roughly
about 3 years.
About 3 years.
Yeah,
okay.
3 years.
So you got saved. How big would Croydon be when you came to the church in Croydon?
Probably about 5 to 10 people.
Oh wow! So you're at the genesis of Croydon.
Yeah.
So 3 years, you get married. Should we talk about how you got engaged?
No. No.
God is good.
Yeah, very good.
Because I love you. Okay, we're gonna leave that. Amen. We'll leave that there.
All right.
We'll leave that there. And so you got engaged, you got married. As I always say, your wife was one of our bridesmaids at my wedding.
Yeah.
Amen. Very close to my wife. And so, when did you start to feel or understand that God had called you to preach the gospel? How did that come about?
Conference. Same year. I think I got saved the 3rd of March.
Yeah.
So we had May conference.
Yep. So 2 months.
So Pastor Clement says, you guys, if you got a chance, come down to conference. You know.
The
War from Soul. Yeah, that's where we all...
In the assembly hall.
Yeah, that place.
Yeah.
So I remember walking in just maybe one night, Thursday night, heard Pastor Mitchell preach. And something just dropped. I said, you know what? You know, could you do this? Could you do this? And that was that. And from that day, I kind of began to go to church more. You know, I don't know whether that was me being called, but I remember just being convinced that this is where, you know, you get saved the 3rd of March. I wasn't in every service, probably evening service. Yeah. You know, then you wake up to go to church, the bus doesn't come, you're like, you go back home, you know. Yeah. So by me just going to that conference that May, kind of did something to me. Then that's when I picked up going to church now. So started going to church, and every altar call, I'm putting my hand up. I'm just trying to get all the sin out of me as quickly as possible. Very good. You know, so I can just get to where I need to get to, you know. So,
amen.
So that was it.
What would you say, before we move on, what would you say was those first early years, those 3 years, because you get saved, and then how long was you saved before you got sent out, roughly?
Sent out 2006.
So maybe 5 years?
Yes, 4 years.
4 years,
yeah,
okay. So
4
you would
years.
have been saved just over 4 years, married about a year and a bit, maybe just over a year.
Yeah, just over a year.
Just over a year you're married. What would you look at, Croydon, in those early stages? What was the culture that you would say that really was helping you grow as a Christian? And what would you say the culture, like obviously now being a pastor, that you would want to emulate? What was happening there?
Yeah.
Because I remember the church just growing. What was happening there, you being in it now looking back?
We enjoyed being in church.
Okay.
Church wasn't long.
Yeah.
Right? You enjoyed. Our pastor was very close to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to understand I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know my dad. Well, I knew my dad, but wasn't that close to him.
Yeah.
So I get saved, and this pastor's so close to us. Pastor Clement.
Yeah.
Right? And he's pretty much telling us we can do it.
He believed in you.
Believed in us big time.
Yeah.
You know, one day you guys will be preaching the gospel. One day we'll send you out to this place, to that place, to that place. You know, he planted that seed in us.
So he discipled you.
Absolutely.
He's discipled you.
So he believed in us.
Okay.
And we began to believe that we could reach the world. We could do more with our lives. And it didn't matter your background or where you came from.
Yeah.
And God could use you.
So the Croydon church grew very quickly from a perspective of a fellowship church, I would say. The Croydon grew really quickly. From outside, we saw it and it's like, oh, this thing is growing quickly. It's an amazing thing. When you was in it, did you realize you was involved in something that was growing quick, or did you just think, no, this is it. I'm just in it. We're just busy doing things. We're not really thinking about anything else. Did you think, oh no, this is...
Because we would do concerts and people come in, get saved, come back the next day.
Okay.
And so, but he always used to say to us, guys, remember what's happening in Croydon doesn't happen everywhere. And we were sort of given that you need to do something with this people, right? Because if it doesn't happen everywhere and we're getting 10, 15 people saved, our follow-up system has to be on point.
Okay.
Right? We can't take this for granted.
Yeah.
So he put that into us. So we would find when people got saved Tuesday, we're knocking on their doors.
Okay.
We're doing this, we're doing that. He's taking us to KFC. And we would use KFC as a means of getting all these guys to come for Wednesday service.
Okay.
Right? So he made us understand we was doing the will of God, but we didn't have all the time to do it.
Would you also say then there's an appreciation of that these people may be praying and getting saved, but we still got to do a lot of work with them? Whereas some people, they do an event, people get saved, and then let's all go to bed, and that's it.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Oh, we had 20 people saved.
Yeah.
But that's only half the work, and he taught you that.
Yeah.
No. This is. It's good. We're not seeing it everywhere, but we got to work at this as well.
Yeah.
This takes a lot of work.
30 people pray in a weekend. Okay, 10 on the street, 20 in the concert. We've got all these comfort cards. He will take those comfort cards and put them onto a system, quick, right? And then we're getting our follow-up slips the next day. This is who you're following up on. This is who you're following. And during the week, what have they said? You know, so I'm seeing him doing that. And then when he hands over that to me to begin to do, I've already seen him do it. He didn't need to tell me it needs to get done for the next day. Yeah, I might have been rebuked a couple of times for taking too long, right? But then he had already shown us these people are precious. These are just not names on a card.
Yeah.
These are souls. So taking over follow-up, it was the same thing. When people get saved, man, treat them well, try to get them somewhere as soon as possible, get them connected and get them a part of the church. So
okay, so you're in this church, in this vibe, you've been discipled, things are happening, you're learning the value of a soul, and then it comes to the point to you to go out. So and you first went to Sutton.
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah?
That's correct.
So 2006 you said?
Yep.
Yeah, year before I went out, wasn't it? I think it was about a year.
Yeah.
I went at 2007. You went.
2006.
So so you go to Sutton. What was the process of going to Sutton?
So
was it always on your heart to go to Sutton, or was it a thing of I got to go, and your pastor was like,
yeah,
I think Sutton would be somewhere he's looking at. You look at it, and then you're like, yeah okay.
So it was Southampton.
Okay.
Right. So pastor asks me and Gillian, guys, do you want to go out? Where do you want to go? And I think I must have mentioned Southampton.
Yeah.
And so we're meant to go out that May and November before the year before was meant to go out. And Pastor Clement during conference says, yeah, you might, this is the conference. And then just before Friday he comes to us and says, nah, not this conference. It's gonna be.
Was you the first guy that went out?
Yeah, it's the first guy that went out.
First church Croydon never sent out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he says, not this time round. And it was funny because when he said that, the next year, January or February, something happens in Croydon church. People just start acting weird.
Yeah.
Doing just rebellion.
Yeah.
So I have to, some of those people are my friends. Right, and so I have to deal with this. I have to deal with that, and make a stand and all that. And so and that really did something for me, because it was the question: do you really believe you're in the will of God?
Yeah.
Right, and so
because when your friends start wigging out and saying this and all about the church, it really solidifies. Do I go with them?
Yep.
Is this thing just a phase? Am I just following the crowd? Is it just a pop? Thing. It was popular for a time. Some churches, they get popular. There's young people. They're doing concerts. Or is this destiny?
Yeah.
Do I believe that I'm here?
Yeah, absolutely. And so so just made the decision, made the stand, and then May came along, and then Pastor Clem was like, you know what, T, I know where you guys want to go, but why don't we do Sutton? Why don't we send you and Gillian to Sutton? You do a good job there. You're closer to Croydon. I can keep an eye on you.
There you go.
Right.
First church out.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and that was it, man. Went to Sutton.
So you went to Sutton. So was it a thing that he mentioned it and then you went round there, or you'd already kind of knew the area? Because it's not that far from Croydon, is it?
Yeah. So we already knew the area.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe Farai, Dango and Busy, had done a few concerts in Sutton.
Okay.
And we had seen, people getting saved.
Okay.
So we had already done some stuff there.
Yeah.
So I already knew where we was going to try get a building and where we was going to try and do things. So there was information there. And so when he said Sutton, I was like, yeah, cool. So
you go to Sutton. I remember you going to Sutton, and I remember quite quickly you had a good crowd. I remember, I think I might have come for you, or maybe went for the guy that just came straight after you? Because you wasn't there long, was you?
No, 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
2.5 years.
It felt like shorter. It felt like you wasn't even there for that long, but you know.
Was having fun?
Yeah. Time flies.
Yeah.
And so I remember you getting a few people very quickly. It seemed very quickly anyway, from my perspective. I remember you telling me a story one time that Pastor Clement called you up one time, and you was, I think you was on the street or something. And he said, "Are you outreaching?" And you said you had some flyers in your pocket. And you pulled them out at that point and said, "Yeah, man, yeah, Pastor, I'm outreaching. I'm outreaching now, man."
Those phone calls, man. Those phone calls. Yeah. You know.
That is funny. That is. I remember you telling me in my first conference. I came to a conference and we were in. Where is it that they put you up in Wolverhampton? They put you up in the Holiday Inn.
Yep.
And we were downstairs in the breakfast bar, and you was telling me about that. And I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
We have a lot of memories, man. We laugh. We laugh.
Hey,
we
that's
laugh.
how you learn.
We laugh, man.
So, you're in Sutton, and then the discussion happens about going back to your mother church and becoming the assistant.
Yeah.
How was that something that was on the cards even before you went out? Because I know with Colin, it was on the cards before he went out.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily on the cards before I went out, but I think it became quite apparent as Croydon grew. The pastor wasn't going to be able to do it all on his own. Maybe he had the plan, and he knew going to Sutton for a couple of years, then bring me back as an assistant. And so, got the phone call. You know, T, I'm thinking of having you come back so you can be my assistant. And so,
So, was that a hard decision for you at the time?
Yes and no. You know, yes and no. It was hard. After, when you realize just the breakup with the church, leaving the church, leaving the people, seeing their reaction. As a pastor, it's going back as an assistant pastor. You're going back to assist your pastor.
Yeah.
Right. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah.
Right. You want to be a blessing to your pastor, blessing to your church.
I'm not sure if I'd be good at it. You know, it's I really do think it has its own individual challenges, whereas and this is not, doesn't matter who would be my pastor, but I think it's something that I think it has its own challenges where, yes, you're not the guy worrying about the finances anymore, really. You're not the guy worried about some of the other dynamics when you are pioneering or when you're the head pastor. But then there is learning how to play the second fiddle. Yeah. And that is, for a man who's trying to develop ministry, but always interpret what is the right way to develop the ministry that he wants, not just the ministry I want. Because, you're the assistant. You did it. Yeah. Is that true?
That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Right. And that was I think for me and Gillian, that was the hardest part of our journey. Just being assistants. You know, I told you this the other day, is that after just going back 3 years, didn't even feel I wanted to be a pastor.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't even feel like I wanted to even go pioneer anymore. You know, it had become quite robotic. You know, and I don't know what happened. I think my expectations of being an assistant pastor, didn't work out the way I thought it would work out. And playing second fiddle is not easy.
I remember, excuse me. I remember it was Pastor Alvin Smith that said, no, it was Pastor Bill Neal from Tucson said that when he came on as an assistant in some capacity at Tucson, Pastor Alvin kind of, I think, gave him a book, How to Play Second Fiddle or something like that. Yeah. And so that was always the word that I came to mind when you are an assistant. But obviously with us now in Wandsworth, we've just had an assistant for a year. Yeah. And I realize having a good assistant is such a blessing. Yeah. And I look at Croydon and I think definitely I remember speaking to one of the guys that was out of Croydon. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, oh, Croydon is doing this, Croydon is doing that, Croydon is doing this, Croydon is that. And a lot of guys said, that's the Tapiwa. It's the Tapiwa doing that. And I didn't appreciate it at the time because I'm just new in the game, man. I don't understand what the dynamics. But a lot of guys said, yeah, that's the Tapiwa. And it always stuck in my mind that and then I tracked it back and I was like, yeah, the church has grown. And it's arrogance to think that, it would be arrogant for Courtney to think that, oh, the success I've had over this year is just me and my ministry, and not realize, hold up, but you've had this guy in the church, and maybe people don't see him preach as much as you, and they don't see this as much as you, and they don't see that, but he's having his part to play, and it really does help when you have a good assistant. And I look at Rotherhithe with Colin and then with Prazzini, and how the church has gone from, Pastor Peter's phenomenal ministry, just double guns blazing ministry, just super preacher, man's man, discipler, all of these things, but still these men come and they bring this added dimension.
Absolutely.
But in a way, it's one of the humblest roles you'll take, because you don't give a report at conference, and you're not celebrated, and it really is you gotta really know who you are in Christ.
Absolutely. And I remember, I think we had a meeting with Pastor Clement, and Gillian sat next to me. We're having a meeting, and then the meeting's about to finish, and Gillian says, Pastor, I want to ask you a question. And Gillian, I'm like, Gillian, what question you want to ask? Let's get over. Let's get.
We're going now.
Yeah, let's get the meeting done. Let's go. And she goes, Pastor, my husband loves to preach, but he ain't preaching.
Oh wow.
I'm like, do you know what I mean? I was like, wow. When I heard my wife believe in me, I said, God, man, it brought back that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We could do a single seminar
do you know
right
what
now,
I mean?
bro. You better pick the right wife, man.
That's
Otherwise
right.
You're lost.
That's right. And so when she said that, it dawned on me I'd forgotten some things. And I remember just getting back and just praying, God, you know what, I want to do this.
Excellent.
You called me to preach.
Yes.
And I began to get chances to preach and just began to pray and just see what God had for me. And I think the next 3 years were years where I really just kind of sought the mind of God. God, where do you want us to go? What do you want me to do? Am I here for ever? What is it you want me to do? And, my feet began to kind of like,
Would you say then that, and this is, because hopefully this helps people, but would you say that the assistant role is sometimes a confusing role of, where am I right now in God's economy? Where am I? Do I stay here? Am I going to go? Where am I in God's economy?
Yeah. No doubt. I understood I was in the will of God.
Yeah.
Okay. There were times when I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then you ask the question, am I being left behind?
Okay.
So you have guys that came into church after you. You have guys who you discipled.
Yeah.
And you're there. You're assisting.
Yeah.
And so you begin to question some things. But I never questioned I was called.
Yeah.
I knew I was.
Yes.
But I questioned whether I could do it.
Okay.
I began to think that maybe the reason why I came back from Sutton was because I wasn't doing very well. So because that period of time was pretty difficult.
It's funny you say that, because like I said, let me repeat that.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to you about Sutton, and you wasn't out that long, and I was like, how's things going? And you was telling me this and that. I was like, how many people you got? And you told me that, and I was like, wow, you've got so many people so soon. How did you do that? And I remember racking my brain, going back to Wandsworth, and I had like 8 people, and I couldn't get hardly anybody in the building.
Yeah, but in context of Croydon.
Oh yeah, well then, yeah. Everything is in context.
You know what I'm saying?
But you see how twisted it is.
Yeah.
Because now you're looking at it. Now you realize, hold up, nothing. You got to give things time. You want to see growth, but
Absolutely.
that development.
Absolutely. Would I do it again?
Yeah.
Would I assist again?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know, it gave me, it put things in me.
What? Like what?
Never giving up. Knowing who I am. You know, Pastor Clement always knew who he was in God.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's certain victories he would have. Not because he was anything special, but because he just knew.
Yeah.
This is God's church.
Yeah.
These are God's people.
Amen.
And I have a right to ask.
Yes.
I have a right to have that.
Yeah.
You know, and I never had that. So by going back and just witnessing that,
Yeah.
I have a right for revival.
Amen.
God can do it. God can move. He can take anyone. He took me. You know, so that, you know, I would never change my time in those 6 years.
Amen.
Yeah, it was difficult, but never.
Yeah, I think, you know, most things, there's going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But it makes us better. So, and obviously you're in there, and now you start to get the itch to go. That
That's
itch. And what, obviously you better use your words wisely, because we're in the audience.
Yeah.
We have an audience here.
Yep.
But why Bolton? What's going on here?
You
I
know,
must admit, I was surprised.
yeah.
I'll be like, why Bolton?
Yeah.
Where's that place then?
Yeah.
No, I knew where it was. I'm only joking.
Yeah.
Did we have a church here before?
Yeah. So I come here for an impact team years ago.
Was it a church from Manchester that was it?
No.
Or was it a church from Walthamstow?
Walthamstow, Tottenham.
Okay.
Yeah. So I come here for an impact team. And, you know, we had a good time. I think it was his opening.
Yeah.
And so just
the
looked
guy
at
that could rap.
Yeah.
Easton.
That's right.
right.
Yeah. So I come here years when he's opening, you know, to Bolton, and you know, we had an impact team. Went back, and so as I'm praying and thinking about, you know what, God, I want to go out. You know, where can I go? And Bolton just dropped.
Wow.
In my spirit, and so what happens? I'm shaking people's hands after church, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, Pastor, just to let you know, I'm not coming back next week. I am moving." I said, where you moving to? He goes, I'm moving to Bolton. And this is like a week after Bolton just came into my mind. And so I thought, okay, all right, that's, you know. So we come up to Manchester for an impact team.
Yeah.
Round about the same time. We have a concert, 2 girls get saved. So, you know, after a concert, you just touch and base with them. So I'm like, hey, listen, make sure you come tomorrow. And the 2 girls turn around and say, we can't. I say, why? Because we live in Bolton.
Wow. So.
Yeah. So that's second time.
Yeah.
So during conference, I'm in a car with Suki and Ephraim, good friends of ours.
Yeah.
And they don't know I want to go Bolton.
Yeah.
And so what happens is Suki, I'm like, how's it going up there in Manchester? Oh, it's going all right. And then Suki turns around and says, we need a church in Bolton.
No way.
I'm being serious.
Wow. God had your